Oh, error occurred. Wait a moment, then try again. Don't know what happened there.
I
Okay, let
didn't
me
do
try
it
that.
again.
Let me try again.
Hello, Internet, and thank you very much for tuning into the CloudNet FM and alongside with me, Richard from Cloud Therapist YouTube channel. Richard, how are you?
Hey, I am good. How are you doing? Good to
And
see
you're
you again.
finally back to the desk. That's the important thing. You're back to the desk again. That's a
I
very
am. I
important news.
am. At least for a while, anyway. And then maybe we'll. Who knows? Who knows when the next one is? We tend
Richard,
to
I get it.
we
And
tend
I
to be quite reactive to these things, right?
Absolutely. And I think this isn't a good time for doing any sort of traveling. Most part of the world is very heaty these days. It's hot out there, humid. And rest of the people, Richard, I believe, is supporting their team on the FIFA Club World Cup that is going on as well. And England is also been trying to doing very good start. They are in round of 32, and I think they're starting their fixture sooner in this month, this week, at the end of this week, I believe. So there's a lot going on. The FIFA World Cup. There's a lot of the conference we have held. There's a heat wave going through rest part of the world. Where I am, this 40 most of the days, so it's tough. It's tough to actually consume a lot of this heat as well. But Richard, what's the agenda? We're supposed to covering, but let's remind our people that this channel hosted, I think, 5, 6 live stream this year from KubeCon Amsterdam 2026,
Yeah.
AWS Summit London, London Tech Week, and I think we did some other off the line, some interviews or some other topic as well. So it's a very steady phase. And if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, I believe you should, because that's the only
Definitely.
way you can get these sort of news as well. And we're covering all of these live streams in a way that you feel like to be at the event where my Richard, my friend, wonderful friend Richard, will going there. He always backpack is all of the gears with him and doing the reporting, field reporting is already been hard, but he put up a lot of energy for these event as well. So you should subscribe to both of you these YouTube channel in order to be informative where the industry heading to goes to as well. So Richard, give us a little bit of agenda for our live stream today, because this is a live stream. You won't be traveling. That's the good news. You will stay here on the desk and we can speak about all of the topic we covered in the KubeCon Amsterdam and Cube AWS Summit London.
Yes. So hopefully we'll. Yeah, I thought it'll be good to. I mean, we do this sort of conference week roundup. So obviously these two conferences did not happen in the same week, but they're kind of we've just kind of brought them under one roof, so to speak. And we thought we'll go back a little bit and cover KubeCon Amsterdam, and just kind of do some recollection of that, which I thought was quite interesting. I think Sam, you may have some statistics for us from the event as well. I think they produced like a report, transparency report, so we'll maybe read out some of the contents from that. And then we'll also look at AWS Summit, which I also covered a couple of months ago, AWS Summit London. And yes, just some of the again sort of reflections from that particular event. We'll pick up on some of the themes, some of the topics, some of the talks, and things like that. So that's kind of really the idea. Now, obviously, we will also do the other live streams that we've done. So we will do another conference week roundup at some point. We'll probably end up doing that as a live stream as well. So that will cover PlatformCon, which we did very recently, London Tech Week, which we've never done before. So this was a first time coverage over two days. And another event which I attended to, which is called Hardware Pioneers Max. Now, we didn't live stream from that one, but I thought it would be quite interesting just to kind of bring in some some of the content from that, some of the ideas and some of the things that I observed from that. Again, I'd never actually attended that particular event before, but I found it really interesting. So if you're kind of in that sort of space of tinkering with things and playing with technology and Raspberry Pis and stuff like that, want to build your own stuff as well, that's really Hardware Pioneers Max is the show for you to go and do that and find kind of some of the vendors, the manufacturers in that particular space. So I find that really fascinating. I'm always a sort of a tinkerer and enjoy playing with things in the background and building my own stuff and things like that. So yes, that's a part of kind of my aura. So one of my sides that I don't really bring into the Cloud Therapist channel, but I just thought it would be interesting to see if we can maybe cover a little bit of that from the Hardware Pioneers Max show as well. So yeah, lots of interesting characters at that event, and we'll cover that as well. So that will hopefully be in the next live stream. But let's move on to the AWS Summit and KubeCon Amsterdam. So KubeCon Amsterdam, maybe we can start with that first. Now, obviously, there's full coverage of these on the live stream. So check out the Cloud Therapist channel live stream, the live tab, to see all of the actual full live streams. So we've done all the interviews that we've basically done for that as well. So yeah, that would be kind of where you can catch up. We also did an afterthoughts video. And now, who did we have on the afterthoughts video? Was Courtney Nickerson with us, Saeem? Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Courtney Nickerson from Nirmata, the Kaiverno,
Right.
joined us as well. And I think because we have one other guest as well, and that's where we give us our viewers a surprise. You need to tell us in the comments who else on our episode as well. But I think it's important to link those in our YouTube comment section so people can see what we're talking about. So here's the link for all of the people reference, because I think it's more than our 200 hour of coverage, Richard. So we did a very good in-depth analysis of what actually happened during the KubeCon, and that's the link will directly land you up for the KubeCon afterthought summary with our special guest on the episodes as well. And we did 2 days, Richard. I think I don't want to forget, and people is like we did 2 days of live coverage.
Correct.
And you are the one who actually has the credit for doing this, because you have been going through all of the different venues and walking and talking to the vendors and all of the rest of the open source community as well. And I think for the KubeCon afterthought, we joined. If you land into the link, you see we have 2 special guests for the KubeCon review, because Courtney also attended the event, and we invited them on our YouTube channel just for a very one particular reason, is that Kaiverno, the policy engine, is finally graduated project in the CNCF. And she was the very front figure for that. He ran the community. She did all the hard work, and she explained what it meant to be a graduated project. And it's a huge debate still today. It's like, is it worth doing it, or is it a loss of effort? What's the benefit of doing it? So if you have the same project, thinking about the graduation, so Courtney did that, all of the detail as well. And we also joined on the KubeCon afterthought by Skeptical Techie. They bring in the very skeptical version of the tech ecosystem. We debate about a lot of the platform engineering, Gen AI collaboration, and synchronization between both of these domains. And also we did a lot of the critics to some of the trends we've been following on the KubeCon as well. So it's very great coverage. Anybody's wanted to learn more about it, here's a link. Go join that part, and we will speak through as well. But Richard,
I was just going to say on the just because you were mentioning Kaiverno, I mean, I think Kaiverno couldn't have graduated at a better time, to be honest, because right now we could do with a bit of policy and governance. And there's a ton of stuff happening around AI governance, especially right now, and AI agents. So I think that is very fortuitous that that project has actually graduated now. And I mean, looking at sort of where where enterprises are and what they're looking to try and do with AI and obviously AI agents and so on. It, like I said, it couldn't have really come at a better time. So yes, if you're interested in sort of policy as code and applying some kind of governance to anything that really your agents are going to be conducting, or indeed even agents that are spawned from existing platforms. So we've seen a lot of agents, agentic sort of features being introduced into existing platforms. So people's, DevOps tools, people's observability platforms, and FinOps tools, and things like that. They're all gaining AI agent capability. So I think it's perfect timing that we can now, be able to manage all of that and apply some of the policies that we want as to how that technology works. If you're kind of in that space, or if you're doing stuff with AI in your enterprise, definitely look at Kyverno as a policy agent to control and manage what what agents are allowed to do within your production environment. This obviously goes beyond sort of the consumer ones like Copilot and so on. Those should connect to your IAM or Active Directory or Entra ID, whatever it is that you have. You're basically your your security for authorization and authentication and authorization. But certainly, yeah, something like Carvana, I think is a good project to look at for that space.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I think I think it started as a Kubernetes becoming like Kubernetes evolving. And I think back in 2020, there is a huge push toward policy because there's some missing ingredients there. The Kubernetes cluster abstraction kind of a style. So Kyverno brings in, though there's only open policy agent back in the days, people really like about it. It's been on all of the different cloud provider and people running it, but they're always complaining because you have a language plus the writing format. You need to do both of these things together. Then Kyverno step in as a Kubernetes native policy engine. You don't need to learn any new languages to write those policies. It's just a YAML, the same Kubernetes YAML file. You play with it. Obviously, today ecosystem is evolved with more of the stuff like cell from the becoming a standard, the built in Kubernetes. But still, I think there's Kyverno is more powerful than not as well. So Richard, let's talk about our little bit of report, because I think this gives us a little bit of a glimpses and a reminder and a refresher to our audience what happened in the Amsterdam Kubernetes KubeCon Amsterdam 2026. Richard, I lost your voice for some reason.
Let's go through the transparency report, because I think that's quite interesting to look at, and then we'll do some more reflection from from the conference as well.
I think here's where we just this page summarizes like it's 2,478 proposal.
Can you zoom in a bit more? Can you just expand the zoom just to make that a little bit bigger? There we go. Perfect.
Awesome. So I'm saying, Richard,
yeah,
we are amongst 2,478 submitters for the KubeCon. And as always, we haven't got a chance to speak at the KubeCon, but hopefully we tried our best. Next line, we'll see. Eventually, there might be a time for us to talk about it. But it's a huge number. We won't complain. It's only 300 plus talks at the KubeCon. So 2,478, they can't fulfill anyone's dreams.
So here's a good question we can maybe ask the CNCF organizers next time, the KubeCon organizers next time. Have they started using AI to go through those proposals?
Oh,
yes or no?
I think that's a very good question to ask. But I can tell you, I think I'm believing. I don't have the statistic, but I think among 2,478 submitted proposal, most of them AI generated these days as well.
Mm.
I think we always joke about AI. That's AI actually being the CFP reviewers for the AI in itself for all of these conferences. I think one thing Richard is clear, but they actually have a very strict guideline these days by the KubeCon steering committee. They tell you on the submission that it should be written by the human, not the AI. If we find the submission AI, we won't be accepting that. I think they
Yeah.
have built out some little bit of a tooling around that as well. So, but they clearly mention like stay away from the AI version of these CFP submissions. But 300 plus attendees, thanks to Don Kahn Scholarship Fund. I think the Jan Kahn is one of the founding member of the CNCF and the KubeCon
Mm.
back in the day. I think unfortunately he dies at 2019 or 2020, and they actually announce his scholarship so people can attend the conference, and there's 300 people who actually
Yeah.
attended. 450 pieces of media coverage. We are among them. We're
Yes.
definitely among them. Next time, hopefully, we are being there.
The only ones who are doing a showcase crawl.
Yes, absolutely. The live showcase.
If there was a statistic below that saying that said showcase crawl, there'd only be one number.
Only
there.
one.
Number
Only,
one.
absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Another statistic is that first time attendees are 44%. I think this is a big time.
Yeah, that's
Because-
actually good. I don't mind that. I mean, I actually would like to see that even more. I'd like to see that go up to about 60%, even 70%, because I think it's, you know, we do quite a bit of a circuit, right? So Platform Con,
Yes.
DevOps Days, KCD, you know, KubeCon. If we can attend or we have access to it, then we do that as well. But we also do some of the smaller ones as well. And I think after a while, it just becomes too repetitive. You know, the same talk, slightly modified, and then you deliver it somewhere else. Same people, same faces, same names all the time. And I think that can get really quite boring. So it's good that actually, you know, the first time attendees is quite a high percentage here. But like I said, I'd like to see it to be even higher than that next time.
Oh, yes, absolutely. 100%. But still, I think they are growing. Like basically, these first time attendees percentage is growing. I think, Richard, I was asking you last time. I don't know what's the purpose of adding this plane or the rocket or the ship in the KubeCon, but it's a cool. It's a cool to see on the stage.
Yeah.
I still do not know like what the is according to the KubeCon theme who actually bring that up, but literally it's very cool to look at the stage as well.
Well, the orange is because it's in Holland. It's in
yes, the
you know,
Dutch army.
it's in the Netherlands, so that's kind of their color. Now the statistics that they're putting on the community is growing. I have some concerns around that. I think we've expressed some concerns around the landscape getting so big. And I can appreciate, you know, that they need to kind of maintain, you know, fresh ideas that will come in. But I think as we saw with a couple of projects at KubeCon Amsterdam, I just felt that those were not really, you know, necessary or worthy of going into the CNCF landscape and the project landscape. But anyway, yeah,
Absolutely.
interesting to see that.
And I think if you look at the number, there are 230 projects in the CNCF land in the category, and 300K plus contributor. Richard, this is huge. This is literally huge. And from 191 countries. I think this is also reflecting how big of the KubeCon and the CNCF is particularly from the community. And I think it should can we debate? I think the CNCF community is the biggest one, I believe, in terms of the numbers they have been showing us. Like it's a these are very big numbers. Like if you have 300K contribute, it's a lot. I don't seem to see. There might be some closing to the CNCF one numbers are, but I think still they have the top contributor worldwide. And then 191 countries is also the big number in itself.
So
here's the
I'm interested in that number because it says 13,000. Sorry, just go back to those numbers again. No, the big numbers just below.
Okay. These ones.
Just stop there. So just go up just a little bit, just for the title of that section. Up.
Okay.
Stop. Okay, good. So it says 13,414 registrations, but 13,500 actually attended. So what happened? My maths is not very good, but what happened to the other 400 and 500 and something? Did they sneak?
Absolutely.
Did they sneak in through the back door or something? Did somebody leave a door open at the back?
Oh my word! I think there might be adding those number from the CNCF people in itself, and also I think one of the a lot of the ambassador in the KubeCon in the CNCF, they have the privilege from the discounted code, and they can actually join the conference as well. But it's a good number. It's still like what's the privilege these 86 people get that all the 3,414
Well, that's what I'm saying. So where did the 86 people come from? Maybe they left the door open at the back or something.
This is a very good catch, Richard. This is a very good catch. Here's some company.
I have to say one thing. I'm just recollecting my experience. So I actually got the only reason I was at KubeCon Amsterdam is because I got a ticket from Neil Cresswell from Portainer. So shout out to Neil, and thank you again, Neil, from Portainer, because I met him at Container Days in London, and I think we did an interview. I did an interview with him, I think there, and then we were talking, and he said, "Are you coming to KubeCon Amsterdam?" And I said, "No, because my employer's not sponsoring me, certainly." And I said, "I don't really have a ticket, and I don't really have media access, to the event." So he actually had a ticket that he could sponsor me on, which was great. So I do appreciate him doing that. Otherwise, we'd not been able to actually attend KubeCon Amsterdam, which would have been a shame. So I actually took the days off from work. So in case anybody's thinking I was skiving off and doing it on work time, I didn't. I actually took the days off from work, and I booked my own flight. I booked my own Airbnb, which was not too far from the venue. But the weather there was atrocious. We pretty much got all 4 seasons in the space of 3 days or something that I was there. We had sun, we had wind, we had rain, we had snow, we had sleet, we had everything. So it was blowing hot and cold all the time, and it was just the weather was really, really bad, I have to say. And I recall coming out of the conference, the main conference hall, because I was actually meeting a T-Systems colleague on the last day, and it was absolutely freezing, and I was just in my T-shirt. I think we just finished live streaming, and I was just in my KubeCon T-shirt or something. And he said, "Let's go over to one of those, cafes or something, and have a tea or coffee or something." And I looked at it, and they just looked too far away. And I said, "How about this one just here?" So we just dived into the nearest cafe that was near the conference hall. I just didn't want to go too far in my t-shirt. It was just too cold. But yeah, it was yeah, the weather wasn't fantastic, I have to say, over those days.
Yes.
Also, I was invited to the after party as well, and I think it was a number of companies supporting or sponsoring that. So yeah, shout out to everybody. I think Datafy was actually one, so shout out to the guys at Datafy. And it was on a yacht, and we had to go kind of to the marina, to the marina area in the city, and again, because it was by the water, it was freezing cold, and we had to stand outside and wait for wait to be allowed on the yacht as well. So that took about, I think, 15 or 20 minutes in the freezing cold weather. And the wind was blowing so hard there as well. It was unbelievable. So yeah, so weather wasn't fantastic. I think we missed all the sunshine. While the sunshine was out, we were indoors and live streaming and what have you. But when we were outside, it was quite cold and either rainy or just very windy and very cold weather as well. So yeah, that's why I just thought I'll bring that in because I just remembered that in my as we were talking about it.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I think I heard this one. I think it's nice to see when you go into some of the conference and weather give you some of awesomeness to, and you can see some of the nature stuff as well, because a lot of the conferences won't give you either give you the very hot version of it or either very cold version of it as well. So it's nice to see this. But Richard, here are some numbers are good, I think, for in terms of the company's turnout for this event. 3,644. So it's a big number, I think, on the list. And here's the attendee geography, Richard. It's a Europe event. It's in Amsterdam. We expect to see more of the European turnout to it. It's typically still, I think, 13% North America. I think this number is declining very rapidly. I think usually it's 21, 22, sometime 18%, but 13% is below far from the NA. So I think NA is be interested in EU.
It'll be interesting to compare it with the next time around, or go back to the London one next time, and maybe have a look at the transparency report for London and see what the American turnout was. I suspect maybe for London the turnout might have been higher because it's easier travel wise for the Americans to land into London, and then maybe they're not so bothered with interconnecting flights and what have you. But I don't know. I mean, there's certainly a number of faces that I know from doing videos with and other conferences with, and I met quite a few people from there. That I know that were there, and they're all American. So yeah, I don't know.
And I think these, if you look at the I still we can definitely try to get a closer look into these numbers in the future. But these number is absolutely exciting to me all the time. 0.7, 0.4, and 0.3. I think this number is CNCF is getting very hard time to increase that number because it's always been below in a point range as well. And I think this number, the Asia, is growing. I think back in the day, I find out that 0.78% in 2024, then the 2%, now the 4%. I think this is the highest turnaround this for the KubeCon.
It's hard, it's hard to do this because, I mean, sometimes I suspect the South Americans just go to the North America event. The African and maybe Australian go to the is it in China or is it in Japan that they do the other one?
Japan and China and India.
And then Asia is, I guess they go to the India one. So maybe that's those are easier for them to reach. So I think you'll always have those in smaller representation for Europe, and obviously Europe will be big, for Europe. And again, when you maybe contrast it with the North American event, again, you'll see less Europeans, but mostly, again, I would expect Europeans to be well represented.
Oh yes, absolutely. And here's Richard, some of the countries. Germany is the best one, but I think this is interesting. The conference held in KubeCon, Amsterdam, that's the city of the Netherlands, capital city of the Netherlands. Look at the numbers, Richard. It's very interesting. 2057 from the city, from the country it held. From the Germany, there are more people than the local one. This is interesting. Interesting.
And like I said, half of those were T-Systems colleagues. So I bumped into so many T-Systems colleagues at the conference. Like, oh, you're here as well. What are you doing here? That did happen quite a bit.
I think those US numbers, I believe, because we saw 3,633 companies participated in the KubeCon, and mostly of them from the US. And that's why the number is still bigger, 1,455, because those companies' representatives are in the KubeCon itself. So in terms of the number, I think it's still we don't see, but I think Germany has always been in the European one on the top of the event as well. I've never seen any KubeCon held in the Germany yet so far, Berlin or something like that. I think we'll see how many that turn up.
I don't remember one being held in Germany. No.
Yes,
I think the CNCF tend to go for relatively known venues. Although that's not saying Germany doesn't have any well-known venues. I think there are, because they do a lot of those kind of IFA type events and things like that. So there's lots that happens in Germany, but maybe, I don't know, maybe they just contractually, have something with the Excel in London, for example, the RAI Center in Amsterdam in Holland, which is where this particular event was held, and so on. So maybe that's that's why they do it like that.
Yes, and I think I need more details on that part. The job function that attended the KubeCon. DevOps is supposed to be SRE, sysadmins. Still, people are sysadmin today, Richard. It's a good topic for some.
There's some Unix people out there still.
Oh my word! Oh my! I thought the sysadmin is gone. We are
Berkeley standard distribution. There's still some Berkeley standard distribution and some Sun Microsystems.
Oh yes, that's it. And as usual, developers are also the top 3 job functions. Which type of developers I wish
that's
to have?
That's actually quite interesting. I would have thought, I didn't really expect that many developers to be, because it's not really, I don't really see KubeCon as a developer conference. I actually see something like the one I attended in 2024. I remember the name. Did we live stream from? No, we didn't live stream from there.
2024. This is a list for us. 2024.
Yeah, it was
Paris.
No, not KubeCon. It was a different conference, which is why I'm trying to compare that conference.
KCD UK.
Open Source Summit.
Open UK.
Which is Open Source Summit, which is a Linux Foundation conference, and I attended that in Vienna in 2024, and that goes down to the Linux kernel level development, and they were actually interviewing some of the people who are Linux kernel contributors. So they were on the main stage, and there was a panel, fireside chat, etc., with the actual developers. So I would really expect that type of event, and maybe some of the smaller, more developer sort of oriented ones, to be the area of interest for developers, rather than something like KubeCon. KubeCon is just kind of the product, and it's the end product, and then you can either you can go and get the open source product, or you can purchase the enterprise version, but developers don't really normally do that, and they're not really interested in the platforms. That's what platform engineers are interested in. So it's actually interesting to see that developers is one of the bigger chunks of the population that's actually still attending KubeCon.
Yes, absolutely, totally. Because I think there's a more.
I can appreciate architects. I think just go to the topic, and I think it said architects, right?
Yes, it's architects. Yes, these are the architects. Yes.
So architect I can appreciate because they put all the boxes together, right? They'll all, in terms of the design and whatever, they will do that. And again, DevOps, yes, that's fine. SRE, yes, there's plenty for SREs to look at, including things like Dash Zero and some of the other people we interviewed.
Where is the question here is where are agentic AI developers and where are platform engineers? Are they watching the KubeCon?
I guess that's what the DevOps maybe means. Maybe they haven't separated the DevOps.
Oh my God! It's still DevOps is still there. It won't be dead. It's not dead yet.
Yeah, although I suspect maybe that's a I don't know. Maybe that's an insult to those folks, to the platform engineering folks.
Here are some numbers. 2021, the virtual one is still the biggest one, Richard. 26,600.
Well, yeah, I guess it was. It was easier to jump online to watch that, right? So that's not surprising. I'm surprised that Valencia was actually that much, because people there were saying, because I went to the Valencia one in 2022, and that was they actually said at that one, because I spoke to a lot of my US contacts there, and they said Valencia was actually higher in terms of attendance than the North America one, which was the first after the virtual events that same year as Valencia, so 2022. But I suspect that was because it was just shortly after the lockdowns had been lifted, and maybe that's why people still didn't want to attend. They were not, they didn't feel safe enough to attend that. But yeah, Valencia was relatively big, I think. Amsterdam actually, in comparison, has gone down, which is a bit of a shame. So it's actually gone down in terms of the numbers. So that's
it's held in 3 years twice. And I think the number is going down. So I think in terms of Valencia is still holding the record. We need to check where the next KubeCon held. That would be the very attractive one. I think here are inclusion. I think this is usually CNCF has some of the community stuff. I think this is interesting to look at the number. Community Hub, 979 contributor from 101 countries. So I think these are the complete list of all the different Kubernetes and CNCF different contribution ladder they have, and they tell of how many of them actually been participant in each of that ladder. I think I drilled down something back in my channel where there's a very extensive ladder for the contribution. They have different SIGs for the contributors, SIGs for the documentation, SIG for the cluster lifecycle management, SID for the node, special interest, or all these SIGs are especially special interest group. And this is a huge kind of a bucket list for all of these contributors. And these numbers tell us how many of these people actually been working together in each part to bring down the whole community together with them. So these are the very big number here. Okay. I think the scholarship, I think CNC have to do more of them, because I really wish there's some part of the world, like Africa specifically, they have got more sponsorship from their traveling if they want to add more number from that part of the region, because they're still well left behind for amount of the stuff they have been doing. And also they have some sponsor. I think this is big. Like, I think it introduces in 2022, I believe, the different language version of the KubeCon being actually coverages. Right now, Japanese, English, Korean, French, and Germans are there. Here's Richard. This is our main part where we need to spend more time. There are a total of 16 co-located events happen in KubeCon EU, and some good registration, I think, for the co-located event. ArgoCon is being the popular always been, and I think they added Agentic Day, MCP and agents. They have the very good submissions, I believe. I think the ArgoCon is one of their most important, and they actually bring audience to the conference. ArgoCon, I think if I look at the CFP submission, I think is going down a little bit. I think people lost interest with the GitOps. And backstage, Richard, is one of those topics. It's being widely populated, but look at the numbers these days. It's going down, Richard, going down big time. Even though the backstage still has some potential. Cilium is also, I think, in terms of submissions, numbers are going down. Cloud Native AI Kubeflow Day, I think it held second time in for this. And Telco Day, I think this is also the second time they organized this co-located event. And I think the first entrance of the co-located event, Agentics Day and MCP plus Agent. So Richard, while I'm actually exploring through, do you have any insights, if you happen to connect with the people, what they shared about this? And have you seen any interest in particularly for these co-located events?
Well, I mean, I can see from the numbers. I've not seen these numbers before, so I can see from the numbers that anything related to AI is the most, CFP submissions for and things like that. And I think that reflected, to be honest, the overall. Actually, apart from the observability day, which is interesting, and we've covered observability a number of times. That is reflective of the tracks and the presentations, the talks that were being done in Amsterdam as well. I managed to catch a few, not as many as I would have liked, but I mean, pretty much everything was with AI as included. So yeah. But I mean, just on observability, you and I have covered before, and I've certainly covered this on the Cloud Therapist channel a number of times, again through Class State of Play and some other areas as well that we've discussed. Observability is certainly going through a period of change, shall we say? It's kind of going from that, very sort of passive kind of approach to doing observability to being, a lot more demand being put on it for doing proactive, activities as well, and actually being proactive in the monitoring process. So this started actually a while ago. I keep finding earlier and earlier entries of who's been kind of pushing some of the current stuff that we're seeing in the observability space. I've kind of gone back to almost beginning of last year. I was talking to Paul Bevan, who's my resident guest for Class State of Play. Shout out to Paul. And Paul was saying that Big Panda was one of the first sort of companies that started talking about it. I certainly picked up on it later on last year at the IOCS conference, the Gartner IOCS conference, which I attended in London. And they were advocating for, pretty much really everybody's advocated for two things when it comes to observability. So including AI agents to take action on your behalf. So if something goes wrong, or something is repeatedly going wrong, or you would like something to be remedied or monitored in a particular way, or to be configured, restarted, gracefully shut down, whatever you want to happen to that production application or cloud infrastructure or whatever it is, or Kubernetes cluster, whatever it is that you're dealing with. You can apply AI agents to basically do that. And then the other aspect of it is really bringing Gen AI into that sort of pattern recognition space that you would normally do with AI ops. So kind of what I would call a Gen AI ops, essentially.
Yes.
So those are the two areas that really everybody's been looking at. Grafana Labs has been doing it. Dynatrace has been doing it. ClickHouse, which we saw, I think, either at KubeCon or at AWS Summit. I can't remember where, but I've seen them somewhere before. Big Panda, certainly, Datadog, and like I said, Gartner from a consulting and research angle, analyst angle. They've all really pushed for those two things to come in. So kind of a Gen AI ops to replace the old AI ops capability, as well as having AI agents that you can start off, that you can instigate or spawn to go and take an action on your behalf. So those are the two big things. I've not seen enough in the observability day talks. I mean, there's a lot of CFPs there, but it'll be interesting to maybe watch some of the videos if they are recorded on these.
Yes, these are all available on the CNCF YouTube channel, Richard. I
Right.
think.
Okay. So it'll be interesting to do that. Maybe we can reflect on it in the future, or actually include something in the description if we spot that. So maybe if you're watching this much later, check out the description of the video at some point. We'll try and maybe spot some of those particular talks that talk about this. Certainly, I can guarantee you, and I've got all the receipts for this already in Class State of Play, especially the January projections episode. So go back and check that out. I'll try and include a link in the description for you. Certainly, from a white paper, from a article, from a blog point of view, and even a video from Big Panda, these two things are covered in those presentations from Gartner and so on, which I attended. Like I said, they were all advocating for these two things: AI agents to take action, so your observability can no longer be a passive reporter of things that it's monitoring, and then Gen AI ops, if you want to call it that, for that sort of pattern recognition. So bringing Gen AI into AI ops, and I think everybody across the board agrees with those 2 points.
Yes, absolutely, and I think this is we see this observability event is getting a lot of the traction. If you look at the CFP submissions, I think this is the largest submissions we got for any event, our 220. And look at the sponsorship list. It's been very big enough from all of the co-located events. So this means CNCF actually try to hold more of these events because the vendors in that particular area is very big enough. Let's forget about the honeycomb. Is also the open telemetry kind of the team behind the open telemetry is also been one of the very core frontal for that. And I think going forward, there will be soon, I think in our YouTube channels, there will be a new series coming through. We will keep that a surprise for all our listeners, but hopefully there will be sooner as well. Open Tofu, Richard, you know what's happened to Terraform, and then people try to call it Open Tofu, and it's still going through, but I think the traction is very low. Open Sovereign Cloud Day, we speak a lot about on our YouTube channel. So our digital sovereignty, sovereign cloud, EU sovereign, Europe sovereign cloud. So these are terms going through. So this means now there's a new event, and I think it has some good submissions so far on this event. So I think this is also getting production. Wasm gone, Richard, very low attendance. I wish Wasm in general become one of those events. Have
Yeah,
still
that is disappointing. That is disappointing because I think the limelight has been, taken away from WASM somewhat because of the distraction with, things like AI, um, and some of these other projects. It's unfortunate that WASM is not really getting, as far as I can see, it's not getting the attention, maybe the sponsorship that it deserves. I
yes.
really felt that, it is kind of the next unit of computing,
Mm,
but um, it's just not getting that, unfortunately. I mean, I did an interview with Sammy Fodel, who's a guy who runs his own cloud in the US, and I did a talk with him a while back, simply because I was just fascinated with that whole sort of space. Uh, did we not interview somebody? Wasm
yes,
Cloud,
we did interview Cosmonic, Richard.
right? Cosmonic.
Cosmonic.
There you go. Yeah. So so that is a. I mean, I think I actually asked him. I said, "Has it been, overshadowed by AI?" I can't remember what his response is, but it might be an interesting point to go back to the
Yeah,
live stream and
Sebastian was
check
a
that
big
out.
thing. You're absolutely right, because before the invention, before the trend of AI, Sebastian is a big thing. It's getting a lot of traction. People are paying a lot of, because is, as you said, the next unit of computing. But after the CPU to GPU waves converted, I think we lost the track as well. So these submissions are very low. I don't think, I think might be their chances, the CNCF looking at it to continue on with this conference, what their motive was, we need to see at the KubeCon NA. But Richard, here our beauty, the platform engineering day, the one we really paid attention to in our YouTube channels,
Yeah,
234 submission, the most from any co-located event. And it's been sponsored by some very good companies. I think we interviewed Centaso, we interviewed Cloudsmith,
we
we
have.
interviewed Octopus Deploy, Harness, vCluster, and I think we did some good interviews people can find out on our YouTube channel.
And Octopus Deploy. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I think platform engineering still being a very interested topic these days.
So we
Even
might
though,
have a look at these other ones for next time,
mm,
Sane. So maybe spend a bit more time with ports, cycloid,
yes,
in physical was where were they? I saw them the other day. They were actually at Platform Con. So in physical was there, um, and yeah, and Kusari and Adera if we and Blue Bricks if we see those guys. So they're the startups. They'll be interesting to talk to, maybe for
yes, I
next
think
time.
and next time definitely we need to pay attention to these
Yeah.
ones as well. I think these are the very good startup as well. So let's quickly glimpse a little bit more. I think these are some random statistics about the gender inclusivity of the speakers from the different, like male, female, and the different part of the group. These are, I think, Abby Bankster, we did interviewed, I think, in the KubeCon. And these are he's a very vocal in the platform engineering community. And I think this is a very interesting. The cloud native said, I think you was going through during the live stream, and I was
Yes.
asking you what the cloud native theater is. I think it's a very Richard is not big of a building than Excel Center, but it still take a lot of your time when you're actually going through the building it as well. Here our very cute friend Richard, Atul Priya
Hey.
Sharma
Yes,
is
indeed. Yes, we did say hello to him. We spotted him, I think, along the way. So I did
absolutely.
manage to grab him and VJ. I think VJ was the other guy who just joined Isovalent, I believe. He was only a
Yes, I
few
saw that join.
days or
Yes,
weeks in, so that was interesting. He's in the he's holding the plaque, the yellow plaque there
absolutely.
on the right hand side.
You
So
can
that
see
was
all these are our ambassadors, Richard Mourinho's there. Yeah, you can see all of these ambassador in one shot, one photo shoot, but you can't see me there because it's been
And I
tough.
was just going to say, you need to be there as well next time, Sam.
This is our, yes. Look at this one. These are all the ambassadors.
Right.
These are more than 86. So this means these are not the 86 who actually
who sneaked in the back door.
yes, here's our wonderful friend Courtney Nickerson speaking about, I think, Iverno Khan. He's
Right.
also been there as well. And all of these booths, I think we did some interview from the booth as well. I think we did interview one of the very new project, Kubernetes GPT or something like that, Homes GPT. We did interview from the project Mobility.
Yeah, check that out. That's an interesting one. It's on the, I think, day 2 of the live stream that we did.
Yes.
I can't remember now, but yeah, that was an interesting one.
What's your thoughts on the food on the event?
Well, the food was okay. I think it was better than the cold lunches that we've had in the past. So there was certainly, hot food available. You had plenty of choices. So you could go for like an Indian theme. You could go for a Mexican theme. You could go for like an Italian theme. You could go for like a more meat type of theme. So, having burgers and things like that. So there's lots of choice, which was really good. I mean, it was all sponsored. Again, great. So you just could go and eat, pick up whatever you wanted, and maybe try something else. If you tried something and you didn't like it, then you could maybe go back and get something else. But it was all freshly cooked, which was great. Not sandwiches, cold sandwiches, which is what we've had before. So that was a welcome change. I appreciated that. That was really good.
I think they also run some parties after the KubeCon after parties, the event, and
they did. I think there were. I think there were a few. Like I said, I attended the one that was on the boat. So that was the. I can't remember. I mean, I think it was Cloud Smith and a number of others were supporting that one, including I was trying to remember all the names now. There was quite a few people there. I actually had the chance to invite somebody to come in. So Gerdib Kali actually gave me access to their party, which was great. So that was the so Gerdib is the guy from Datafy. So I spoke to Gerdib was there on the boat, and then I had the opportunity to invite some folks as well to join me. So they weren't necessarily at the conference, but they are Amsterdam residents, so they were able to join me as well. So it was good to be able to do that. So I appreciate Gedip and Datafy. I appreciate them helping and supporting, facilitating that for me. Likes of Sarah Poland, who's ex HashiCorp and now fractional CTO, and a transformational advisor. So she's a resident. So it was good to have her on the boats and have a bit of a conversation as well. So that was good. That was good fun to do.
Yes, absolutely. There's a bunch of other companies as well also hosted some parties, and the CNCF ambassador has some their parties as well. So I think I heard some good news, some good vibes from the food as well. But let's literally do the quick recap, Richard. Then we start the AWS Summit London. I think if you look at this list is important one actually. If you're seeing on the screen right now that in the number of sponsorship from the different tiers, like in some category the sponsorship are increasing, but on the other category they are decreasing as well. So I think we will pay more attention to these charts in the near future to give us a full perspective of how the companies are actually seeing the KubeCon in a going forward as well. And I'm having a hard time of understanding what that 6-star, 6-star, and 7-star means. Is it like there are 6 and more, or 6 and more?
Well,
But
it says there's a star at the bottom, so it says capped maximum. So
okay.
for the star, yeah. So it's just an asterisk.
So there are some lists going there since going down there. I think in the look at the Amsterdam list, it's been silver went from decreasing, gold is increasing, platinum is increasing. So I think you look at the Amsterdam in journal, I think we see how many companies are participating in this. I think this is a good chart to look at the consideration. Richard, any swag you like the most from the KubeCon Amsterdam?
Sorry, any what? I didn't catch that.
Any swag, any swag you pick and you really like about them?
I think no. I mean, I think apart from their T-shirt, that was the main thing that I managed to get. I think I got you one as well, so that should be part of the big package that I'm building for you. So that should be there. I didn't. No, I didn't really have time, to be honest with you, to go around a lot. I was busy live streaming and then doing other things as well.
Look at some of the sponsorship here. I think we can call out a thank you note to all of those. We actually interviewed Chain God, Dash Zero. We interviewed Commodore. Also, we interviewed Sovalent. We interviewed Teleport as well, and we interviewed Nutanix. So these are the company we actually did interview, and there's some short videos also been there on the on these YouTube channel. So please watch that out as well and see what these companies are going through as well. And I think we missed more because we did more interviews than usual. So please check that out. So these are the very big sponsor lists we have. And in future, hopefully, we will be listed as a media partner in the KubeCon NA as well. So I think anything we miss, Richard, we also host Tigera. Tigera is also one of our interviewed.
And Light Bits, I think. Did we not speak to Light Bits?
Light Bits. We also interviewed, and Vexhost. We also
Vexhost as well. Correct.
And Portainer.
I did try to catch Neil at Portainer, and I think I went round twice, and I couldn't. He wasn't there, unfortunately, on either time when I did try to go and say hello. So yes, that was unfortunate, but
yes, absolutely.
But we'll try and catch him at the next event.
As we're speaking through, KubeCon India already been held. KubeCon Japan will be happening next month. We won't be live streaming, unfortunately, because it's a small event. But there are some articles that referencing some of the thing as well. And inference is one of the topic we covered a lot on the KubeCon afterthought as well. And I think Skeptical Techie and Courtney Nickerson did some very good analysis to that as well. So please watch that out if you're interested in those. So that's all about it, Richard. From the KubeCon EU, we covered it a lot. I think the KubeCon is being generated all the hype from all of the biggest vendors. So it's worth paying 1 hour of coverage into that as well. So now, Richard, we had our focus to AWS Summit London. And since you are a very much advocate to the AWS and the cloud-centric person, so give us a little bit of a keynote to the AWS Summit London. We covered only on the one day because it's held on the KubeCon Excel Center, and it's only been the one-day event, and it's happened on Wednesday, 22nd of April. So, Richard, briefly tell us what thing you find out interesting in the cloud while we did a coverage on the any news, any refreshers you have right now, and I will see if we have some data to back that up as well, and I will share the link to our listeners who can actually go out as well.
I mean, AWS Summit London is always an interesting one because it gives you a good update in terms of the announcements in between the previous reInvent which happens normally in the autumn or winter of the year before, and obviously the spring sort of period in London. So normally around March or April time in London. So as you said, it was the 22nd of April on this occasion. Again, we live streamed from that. We covered. I think we did some interviews with the likes of Chainguard. We
Yes.
spoke to
Datafy. We speak to Datafy as well.
Datafy. We spoke to I think it was trying to remember FinOut. We did an interview with
Yes.
FinOut as well, which was quite interesting. I think we were kind of aiming for some companies that we don't necessarily always kind of talk to. Now we also got a lot of no's as well. So lots of people said no, they were not prepared to actually talk to us, which is a theme that's continued into London Tech Week. But we'll pick up on London Tech Week next time in the next live stream. I did do an interview with Mike Mead from Scale Factory. So shout out to Mike. So that will be hopefully coming out on the channel at some point. That was an afterthoughts sort of interview at the Scale Factory party, which happened after the AWS Summit had actually finished. So that was interesting. They didn't have really as much entertainment this time. I think they had a band sort of going around towards the end of the day, which they normally do during that sort of networking hour that they have at the end of the conference. The themes, like I said, they were kind of really more of a extension of the ones that have happened, at reInvent. So it was kind of a lot of corroboration and re-emphasizing a lot of the announcements from reInvent. So I won't go through all of those because we've kind of covered a lot of those in the past, and people can have a look at some of the. I think we had like the newsreader web link last time that we used for all the announcements from AWS. But yeah, I mean, again, emphasis on AI. Of course, I do remember they wheeled out a number of their customers in the different markets. The organization was slightly different this year. So the main hall had all of their partners, all their sponsor partners. So that included the platinum partners as well as some of the smaller partners as well. So they were all in one place, which was, I really appreciated that. That was very useful and certainly came in handy for the live stream. So we didn't have to go up and down escalators and stairs and things like that. The downstairs area was the kind of any technology that had a sports theme to it. So there was the Formula One, there was football, there was NFL sort of stuff, and various other things, and also the esports as well. So all of those were concentrated downstairs. So any technology demos, any platforms and solutions that were related to either sport or esport or something like that were all downstairs. So if you kind of wanted to go and have a bit of fun, you could do that downstairs. And then the sort of the AWS village, if you like, was actually in a different hall. So that was in the South Hall. So this is all happening in the North Hall that I'm describing. And in the South Hall was where they had all of the AWS solutions. So you had the village, you had the enablement and training certification areas, but mainly the kind of zones, the industry zones and the technology zones and things like that. And the startup loft as well, I believe, was also there as well. So that was kind of more of a AWS only sort of focus, really. That area was predominantly AWS, obviously with their partners. So if there was like a fashion section, if there was like the fashion industry, then they had partners who were doing stuff around fashion. If there was a retail, then there was partners that were doing retail. If there was a banking, then there was a partners there that were kind of in that financial sort of sector. So it was kind of done like that. And I have to say that, I mean, the thing that I picked up on that was there was a lot more spectacle there. It was a lot more extravagant than normal. And the decor that they'd chosen was very good. I was actually quite impressed. I think they'd put a lot more emphasis and focus on on the stand designs and stuff like that. There was holographic solutions. There was internet kiosks. There was touch screens and stuff like that in that AWS section. And then the other section, like I said, that was kind of where all the partners were. And you had a lot of partners there. Lots of people had turned up. There was quite a few open source, players in that space as well. So that was quite good. It wasn't kind of just the standard sort of consulting partners from AWS like the Deloittes and Accentures and what have you. Although most of those guys were there as well. You also had in there, which is quite unique to AWS Summit, is the SaaS partners that turn up. As well. So you have like Workday and people like that who turn up, PagerDuty, some of the others who are purely SaaS based solutions, and Anthropic and others were also there. And those guys you normally don't see them kind of turning up for these events, but you had people like Chain Guard sort of rubbing shoulders with Notion and people like that. And Notion is a note-taking system. It's not really like an open source product or anything. It's a SaaS product, right? And you just download the app and make use of it. But they were there because clearly they run their software on on AWS. That's kind of where their SaaS solution runs. So it's interesting in that you could tell now a few of these vendors where they run their platforms. So that was interesting. I think this is the only time when you get to see that, and when the public clouds go down or a region goes down, and then you see the outages on these SaaS solutions, and then they're an AWS customer, or they're a Microsoft customer, or they're a Google customer, or or something like that. So that's always a telltale sign. The sessions were quite interesting. I attended a few. I'm actually managed to get into the keynote this year, which was fantastic. So I think I'll probably be doing some kind of a full review and a sizzle reel on it as well at some point, and releasing the interview with Mike Mees as well. So I mean, a lot of them were around SageMaker and the AI based sort of solutions from like the playgrounds and things like that that AWS offers. And a lot of it was again around speed. It was around the speed of how quickly you can get something up and running, and put it into production, or a kind of a fail fast, try something out and see if it's going to work. And that's, I think, the beauty of what really doing things like AI in the public cloud allows you to do. So there's a lot of that kind of focus. There was some, sub theaters as well, and a number of the other sort of partners were running those. There lots of different themes around those. But yeah, I mean, the keynotes were quite interesting. It was mostly European and UK based leaders that were attending. Apart from Werner Vogels, who did the CTO talk. But again, I have to say, I found his reInvent keynotes uninspiring. It just had nothing to do with anything with kind of what they were doing. It just seemed to be a little bit further out west from what AWS was talking about. But I guess that's his prerogative. He's the CTO. So yeah, but I just didn't find that as useful as maybe some of the customers that they brought on to do to be part of the keynote presentation. So again, they wheeled out yet another car company, a car hire, car sales company, like they did with Kazoo a few years ago. I can't remember the name now, but there was another one that they did this year as well. And now Kazoo didn't do very well in their business model, So I'm hoping that this particular one does a little bit better than Kazoo. I can't remember the name. Apologies for the not remembering the name, but yeah, that was interesting. They brought out another card company a few years after Kazoo was brought on as a flagship customer. Yeah, and I think, I mean, it was lots of kind of the usual sort of focus from AWS around innovation, speed, agility. Obviously, lots around AI. So lots and lots of announcements around AI, and really, like I said, it was the period between sort of reInvent. So what was announced at reInvent, and now kind of enhancing that announcement with more solutions, or maybe just renaming it as well. So maybe they named it something at reInvent, and now they thought, maybe we should change that name, and then kind of changed again. A little bit like what Microsoft's kind of done with Foundry and Azure Foundry and stuff like that. I think it takes marketing a little bit of time for some of these things to kind of filter through, and then for folks to realize what this actually is and who's going to be benefiting from it. And that might be sometimes slightly different from what you had in mind. So you call it something, you call it an ABC, and actually then you think about it 6 months later, go, actually, I think maybe we should call it XYZ. It makes more sense to call it XYZ rather than ABC. So yes, I think there's that kind of investment.
Just one thing to add here as well is that I think, once again, if the AWS Summit London is a very difficult style event compared to the KubeCon one, where you usually have to be, where you usually find people that sometimes they need approvals from their companies to talk to us, from any media partners that were there. So we tried our best, but sometimes it turned out to be no, just because they have some compliance, they won't talk to the people, they need some permissions to be interviewed at.
Yes.
But still, people turned up for our booth side interviews. I think we did interview the Guy Bodeski from one of the companies he's been representing. I think the 4 or 5 different companies participating in there as well. So I think it's a very customer-centric event where you tend to see, you talk to the customer turn up to your booth and they want to inquire more feature that have you recently added into your platform on top of the AWS, the things you have been running on the side of the thing.
Well, it's certainly, I mean, it's certainly the number of, and you're talking about sort of customers attending, I think it's certainly a lot more for those customers who are invested in the AWS ecosystem.
Yes.
I think, but I think there's a difference between it, for example, and the Microsoft ones, the build or whatever they call it, the Microsoft ones, because I feel that AWS Summit is a little bit more practical. I mean, they still have, for example, the Ask an Architect section, so you can go and queue up and whatever and fill in a form, and then you actually get to talk to one of the top ace AWS architects, and they have their own stand, so they can demo for you everything that's in AWS as well. So you get to, I think you get to see a lot more sort of practical stuff happening with the conference than maybe you would see with Build and some of the other ones, which are kind of more announcements oriented. But yeah, it was, I mean, it's always, I do find it useful to go and talk to the people, sit in through some of the talks, pick up on, what is AWS's thinking? How are they thinking about, AI and things like that? And what do they want to, how do they want to represent, these solutions on their platform? Because you can do this in so many different ways. You can say, well, we'll just leave it to the partners, or you can say, well, we'll just give you all the open source stuff and you can build it yourself, or we can do this kind of PaaS layer, if you like, and that's kind of really where AWS, excels at what they do. They kind of give you that PaaS layer. They make it easier for you to, migrate into the cloud. They make it easier for you to be able to try out something different that you've not done before. They make it easier for you to, experiment with things, and they make it easier for you to test something specific, and so on. So, and certainly with AI, that's kind of an option because they just have such a wide ecosystem, right? In their public
Yes,
cloud. So
and
that's, I think, part of the advantage.
as you said, like 1,200 partners, AWS partners, have actually attended the AWS summit. That's a big number. I think Richard, we need to look at it because I think I have a very hard time because I will see where these input, like compared to the KubeCon transparency report, is there anything AWS actually has been added? I feel like I'm missing something on the internet because I haven't get the data from the AWS who tell us who exactly attended the event. There are some articles referencing the conclusion of what actually the trends come out from the AWS Summit London, but the full data is missing as this moment of time. Let's see how to grasp that one. I think the one thing is a very cornerstone in the keynote of some of the AWS Summit London talk. They say the lack of AI and digital skill is viewed as a top barrier to adoption. And tools like Kiro, Agent Core, and Transform, Amazon Q Plus, Amazon Q something, actually been, these are some sort of capabilities that AWS added to actually close the AI barrier gap, the skill barrier gap for some of their customers. So I think this, and a lot of news actually come around those Kiro, Agent Core, Transform. These are the three different products that AWS investing heavily on AWS Summit. When we actually covering the event, we see this a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a good reason for that, is because those are relatively new solutions and platforms. So they're trying to really expand the capabilities of those as much as possible. And you're not going to be able to do that unless you give a lot of focus to those. And yeah, that might be at the expense of other tools, but the whole ecosystem has moved on. So you should know what cloud formation is, and you should know what cloud watch is, or whatever they call, what they call the observability platform, monitoring platform. So those kind of conventional, EKS, for example, and S3 and stuff, everybody should know that by now. Everybody's kind of in that space should know what S3 is and what SageMaker is and stuff like that. But it's the AI part of SageMaker, or it's looking at Crow, or some of these other projects that they do, and like I said, the PaaS solutions that they provide as well, that is more interesting. And the IAM stuff, for example, that's kind of trying to adopt more support for AI agents and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that, and there was actually an announcement I picked up on. Is it the FinOps agent they've released now as well? There's a beta for the FinOps agent or something. So there's a whole bunch of these kind of newer things that are coming in, and I can't really blame them for that, because that they have to innovate their platform. They have to continue, innovating and improving their platform. They can't stand still, because that's the only way to maintain their leadership, right?
So here's a Richard event you're talking about, the Amazon FinOps agent. I think they announced, I think, if I'm not wrong, during the times of the AWS Summit London.
Yes.
So if anybody interested, they can actually go through as well. But I feel like I'm missing so many Kubernetes news from the AWS Summit. There wasn't much. There's some cluster updates too there as well. But one thing that big was in the last KubeCon is going through the AWS Summit. We see the still innovation and happening in that AWS DevOps agent. is becoming eternally available. And during that time, people were more talking about the use cases where they can actually use the DevOps agent. And somebody say, "Oh, finally, DevOps team people have to be replaced now because now the AWS agent has been covering all of these cases." And also, I think during the time of the AWS Summit London, they announced Amazon S3 files, making S3 bucket accessible as file system. This was a very big news at the Summit London as well. Even though its coverage, we still need more of that, but still people talk about it's a big news in the AWS ecosystem, because now we can actually, organization can store analytical data lake in S3. They can actually use file system to basically access files, and they actually do some of the AI inferencing with that kind of capabilities. They can link them together with some other architectures or other services in place. So that was a big news in the AWS Summit. I think the event also coverage most of the part, some of the talks all I went through there as well. But one thing to cover here, Richard, is like, as the KubeCon talks uploaded to the YouTube, and you can watch them later. But the AWS Summit London talk is basically not on the YouTube, but you can watch that on the AWS Summit London link, register that, and watch all the talks on all of your piece without any fee or credits there. But you can watch from the website rather than on the YouTube channel. So this is a little bit bigger than the KubeCon and AWS in terms of the afterward coverage of the event as well. But I think we see a similar debate, Richard, like agent. I think our industry is now becoming a point where everybody feel like if you have a problem, don't worry, agent will solve for you.
Yeah.
And that's all about it. And I think we see all these kind of waves. But I think, but it's only these YouTube channel are able to cover these live stream. And Richard was there covering the event and seeing from his own lens what been held, what the talks been happening there. So you see the very visible side of the conference as well. And all these things we spoke about with the people playing Formula One car racing back in the showcase area. You can see that on the live coverage, what's actually been going. I think you did some, do you find out some reports there as well? Might you did some handshakes with them or something like that. There also been some part of the episode as well. So it's been a very cool coverage. We learned a lot and we covered a lot of the different topics there as well. So I think in the sooner we see more of the AWS ecosystem and try to recap more of the talks there as well. So Richard, I think we're top of the hour, and we just to recap both of these conferences. What was your typically learning point from, if you merge them two conferences together, and if you ask you what two top three biggest categories or list you can come up with, what will be those?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly AI is a convergence point, between the two. So whether it's AI agents or projects that are, kind of bringing in AI, as we've said before, AI agents are kind of augmenting, existing platforms, so they're not running around your production environment, at least not yet, on their own. But they will at some point. And even with SaaS solutions like Monday.com and others are all bringing in the ability to launch AI agents. In fact, it was a bit of a nightmare when somebody said, yeah, and even marketing team and the finance team can now launch AI agents. And it was like everyone was going, oh my God, no. You don't want that. You don't want non-techies launching techie stuff. So, but that's the kind of thing I think that's certainly, happening. So AWS, both from a SaaS point of view with their partners like Notion and what have you, will offer that, but also obviously with their own solutions as well. So from their, sort of the kind of the playground areas that they offer as well for testing out agents and stuff like that, and testing out your agent code and what have you, and certainly building a full model as well. Now, obviously, AWS also has the European sovereign cloud, so they announced that recently. That's, I think, fully available now. The AWS ESC, or European Sovereign Cloud. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's sovereign enough for everybody. There's certainly lots of different arguments in regards to how sovereign it is, but that's a different point of view. And then open source is kind of the combination for all of these as well. So both AWS supporting open source, sponsoring open source projects, donating open source projects. That again lends itself to the CNCF and KubeCon. So those, again, that's a merging point between the two. And then the other one, I guess it's still around AI, but how do you build your AI? We've argued before that's really, and I've certainly said before, AI is an HPC workload. It doesn't need Kubernetes. It doesn't need a public cloud. You don't need anything. You just need a bunch of servers, put the usual stuff together, InfiniBand for the network, fastest storage you can get, and it's an HPC workload. Yeah, and HPC has its own software stack. It has its own scheduler. It has its own orchestrator, monitoring tool, provisioning tool, everything. It does not need Terraform. It doesn't need containers, doesn't need Docker, doesn't need Kubernetes, and so on. So, yes, both camps, someone like a public cloud like AWS will facilitate and support you to, like I said, break things quickly, learn from your mistakes, fail fast, all that kind of thing. And then you got the open source side trying to push into that sort of AI space, but really you don't really need neither of those. You can test it out on your own laptop if that's what you want to do, if you have a beefy enough laptop. So that is another point, but I just want to see maybe a little bit more transparency, shall we say, and honesty from both sort of camps. They're not the only ones who can do AI, or they're not the and certainly shouldn't be the gatekeepers for for doing AI. So those are maybe the two or three things that I sort of picked up in terms of sort of overlap between KubeCon and AWS Summit.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. I think one of the things I think that they still feel, I think companies and the trendsetter do a lot of work on is like, I think we have so many missed pieces, right? I think we have some having a difficulties in terms of the conference of aligning between the different trends right now been happening. Like we have some sort of agents being a big thing. Then there's a people like to know that how those agents will run in some sort of the platform, what platform capabilities should incorporate with those agents is been calling some other stuff. And then there's observability layers on top of it. And then there's a policy and governance on top of it. So I think I would like to see a conferencing piece giving us a 360-degree wider lens of all these topics as well. I think if you look at the KubeCon in particular, we have some tools that has been available as an open source tool, but that's still required a lot of plumbing from the customer and the community angle to build the abstraction on top of it. When you go to the cloud, all things are being readily available for you, but they missing the core functionality, and you still need to bring in some team structures, team styling, team components into there in order to use those patterns and skills. So I think I would like to see there's a merger between them, where the conference is being held together and see the 360 wider angle as well. I think I believe we now becoming all the marketing and all the weapons is so much attracted to the agent, and we miss all the different debates of how to run those agents, what's required. All we have the infrastructure needed or already been built to support those kind of agent. All the security and compliance are ready-made available in the enterprises who can actually go along with the agent AI journey. I think those, I would love to see more of those stylish or more of those next step kind of talks will be held at these conferences as well. But I think in KubeCon and in the AWS Summit London, I think we see you have to live with the agent wave, either you like it or not. You have to live with that agent. And the one thing they told you is like, it's not about innovation, it's about re-upskilling your entire team with the newest wave, because those platform engineering plus the agent AI has been growing very rapidly, and most of the solution and the problem we have today might be solved if we can link them together in a way where that is best matches for the company's profile. But I seem to see, I think, more of the architectural style consideration are having some very good talks at the KubeCon that will go very deep into the into the cultural and structural aspect of the technology. And also in the AWS Summit London, I have seen some of the very good talks that tells them how to run cloud with the age of AI, what's needed, what's been prerequisite. So those are very handy talk if you can go to and watch those talk as well. And I think we luckily cover most of the part from the different, how the governance and AI link together, what's needed for the AI to govern itself or the govern from the team perspective. We also covered the DevOps agent from the AWS during the conference. We shed some light on that topic. We covered some of the platform engineering aspect. We did some of the KubeCon, all of the different tool, how they link them together to find a platform that best matches for most of your scenarios. So I think luckily we covered those topics as well. And you can watch this on the later, some of the stream as well. We did some booth interviews from the different companies. Really shout out to all those companies who appeared on our YouTube channel as well. So those are the very good detail-centric talks for you as well. So I think it's been still missing to align some of the AWS, Azure, KubeCon, bunch of the other and unite them together and to build up a one mutual consensus. That is very hard to do that. But still, I think our live coverage gave us some very good perspective to that as well. So Richard, before we wrap up our discussion for today, thank you very much for tuning in to one another live stream with me. I think this year we have bigger number than the last year. I think live stream is becoming our usual format in this year, and I hope we have more of the coverage coming up. And I think the spoiler alert, London Tech Week, and one event you attended, the hardware event, we will be covering that up very soon. The London Tech Week, I think we will be having, I think I like really the theming of that event, and it's given us a very new perspective into the how the event being held. And we did some very good booth interviews as well. So it's need its own review as well. So we will definitely review that episode as well.
Yeah, we'll do another live stream. I think on London Tech Week, as I said, we'll do it. We'll include the Hardware Pioneers Max show and Platform Con as well. So we'll do another live stream and cover those three events. And can I just remind everybody to make sure that you guys subscribe, please. Hit the notification bell. You get all the notifications on our live streams that we do and any new content that we release on our channels as well. It's slightly trivial, maybe a thing to do, but really useful for us because we kind of all want to hit our next, level of subscribers. That will really help us out to move the channels forward, bring you more content, and monetize the channel and so on. So really appreciate that.
Thank you everyone who turning up for the Cloud Native FM and Cloud Therapist YouTube channel. And make sure we also completed Code to Culture, Platform Engineering, Unpacked for Enterprises. All the 6 episodes is out. It's a very good content. We have some very good expert guests on some of the wonderful domains on the platform engineering. We cover from Internet Developer Portal, is DevOps, is dead now. We covered platform observability. We covered some of the cultural aspect and the code aspect of the organizational modernization to jumping into the platform engineering, what skill needed. So it's a very packed series. So go watch that out. 6 episodes is out, and hopefully there is a review coming up as well. A lots of happening on these YouTube channel. I can literally tell you a lot's going on. So the only way you can actually learn all those kind of, you can like and subscribe. You will do not miss any of the live stream we're actually planning, upcoming or the future. We actually have some new series coming on the YouTube channel as well. Thank you very much for watching us and giving us some numbers we can actually really appreciate. So have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll soon be again live in another future episode. Till then, subscribe to Cloud Native FM and Cloud Therapist YouTube channel. Bye-bye, everyone.